Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Bison Video Blog, presented by Northwestern Mutual with Jeff Kolpack. I'm Dom Izzo. Dakota Marker week is here, Jeffrey. Number 1 versus number 2 in the country. North Dakota State, South Dakota State, set for Saturday night under the lights at Dana J. Dyko Stadium in Brookings, as we get again a national televised game, much like last year. ESPNU will have the game on Saturday night. We've been waiting for it, and here we are.
Yeah, we are. After 8 weeks of a football season, we're finally getting to something that really matters. And I know Illinois State and Southern Illinois were top 10 matchup games, but like I said on your show on Monday morning, it didn't feel like a top 10 game just because they're not, I don't think they're national title threats. South Dakota State obviously is. Now this is the heavyweights. And then, so UND is right around the corner too, and a couple weeks after that. It's what college football is all about. It's going to be a packed stadium. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be loud. It's going to be everything that – this is what we live for, too, as somebody covering a team.
And it always comes down to quarterbacks, but the two quarterbacks are actually going to get their chance to play in this game. Cole Payton got injured in this game last year against South Dakota State. Chase Mason scored a touchdown against North Dakota State. Now they were off to the side because it was Miller and Gronowski. Now they got their time to be known forever. If you play well in this game, you're a legend at one of these schools. It's just fact.
Well, it took Cam Miller a while.
It did.
It took him 4 years of trying, and he finally got it done last year, both in the regular season and in the playoffs. But now this is down in Brookings, and Cole Payton, he's a veteran guy. He's got to go down there and deal with that environment. You don't have that environment in Memorial Stadium in Terre Haute.
There's no environment in Memorial Stadium in Terre Haute, Indiana.
This is different. But again, players love that. I mean, this is what they play for. And you asked me earlier, why did NDSU get off to a slow start, you think, against Indiana State? And my answer is that's part of it. I just think when you're a 19, 20, 22-year-old college young man, that this is what gets you up.
Yeah.
Going into a Memorial Stadium where there's stands on one side, the weather is going to be iffy, the team is not that good, it's different. It just is.
So the status of Chase Mason as of Monday, we record this Monday morning, is up in the air. Mason left the game against Murray State after this touchdown run that happened early in the first quarter. We don't know where he got hurt, if he got hurt on this play, if it happened earlier. All we know is his celebration was muted after scoring the touchdown, that he knew something was wrong with him.
You could tell he just wanted to be by himself after that. Like, I need to, something's up here. Gave it to the ref, and instead of going to the offensive lineman or whatever they do for celebration, it was a beeline right to the bench. We don't know. We may never know until 6:15 p.m. When teams are out for warm-ups and getting going on Saturday night. If I'm Dan Jackson, I probably don't reveal what the deal is. I probably won't. That's just the way it is. The backup, Luke Marble came in, played well. He's not dynamic. I don't think
he's not Chase Mason. No,
he doesn't have the jets that Chase Mason has, and has shown against the Bison with a long touchdown run in the past. So that's really the story this week, is it not?
Yeah, right. There, it begins and ends with that, in my opinion. I will say, though, look at Dan Jackson has a history in this rivalry, obviously being a former assistant with John Stiglmeyer before he went off and coaching the SEC, and a couple of their stops before coming back to South Dakota State. And he was part of building that Jacks, when the Bison were hammering every year, but recruiting Nebraska well, that set the Jacks up for that streak where they beat the Bison a couple years in a row and made the postseason in 16 and 17 before he left to go into other ventures. So he knows full well about this rivalry. Now he's getting his first time to be a head coach in it.
And really the Jacks did it with defense. I mean, you can say all you want about Mark Gronowski and all the running backs they've had over the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years.
Between Isaiah Smith and Pierre Johnson, or Isaiah Davis and Pierre Strong, they were just so good.
Angel Johnson is now the starter at Washington State. But you do it with defense. That's how you win national titles. The Bison set that blueprint. You have good athletes on offense, but you have reliable, really good athletes on defense. And they've been pretty good on defense.
I think that's the strength of the team, honestly. Now, the offense is coming along. I will say, somehow the Jacks do this every year. They found another wide receiver. Alex Bullock is the transfer from Nebraska. Jackson is an Omaha guy. He knows plenty of kids there. Bullock wasn't doing anything with the Huskers. He stepped up and now been a deep threat for South Dakota State.
He's been 40 catches on the year, averaging 12.7 yards. The guy I like, though, is Lofton Ogroski.
Ogroski's really good.
I think
really
he's
good.
The playmaking guy that NDSU has to be a little wary of, certainly. I mean, to me, he's more like Griffin Wilde was last year. This guy, I just think he's got that ability. He's 6'2". He can go up and get a ball in traffic. As good as Bullock's been, I think Ogroski is more of a threat.
And I will say, though, last year the Bison contained Wilde. Wilde was not a factor in the two games. In the game in the regular season and the FCS semifinal game, Griffin Wilde wasn't a deal, which is odd to say considering how good he is.
Yeah, against a young secondary at the time, too. NDSU, obviously a little more, I want to say, experience now. You have Darius Givens for the full game. He sat out the last half of the Indiana State game, or the first half, with concussion,
the targeting call.
Thank you. And so, kind of surprising that Willie didn't get really more involved last year.
I will say, I know for a lot of fans that were, well, the Jacks lost 20-some-odd guys to Washington State, and you did the number. 16 of them are in the two deep as of this week for Jimmy Rogers. They lost Wilde to Northwestern. Evan Bernstein is starting at Northwestern as well. That the Jacks were going to fall off the table. I never believed that. I don't think you did either, but how good they've been, I think has surprised a lot of people.
Well, you believe they're better than I did.
I thought they weren't going anywhere.
Yeah, you were right on that one. It's really unprecedented in the FCS on how this program could lost so many guys, the entire coaching staff, and I mean just good players. I mean really good players and great players, and then to come back and be 7-0 and hosting the Bison, I think. Remarkable is the word that, to me, that comes to mind.
Let's update a couple of things on the Bison injury-wise. Mekhi Collins left that game on Saturday. Looks like maybe a high ankle sprain. How big a deal is that? I know we talk about the depth of the Bison wide receiver room, but in a game like this, you want all the weapons you can have out there.
I don't think, is it a big deal? It's a big deal, but it's not the hugest deal. I mean, they have depth certainly at wide receiver. I think the emergence of Reese Kessel at tight end as being a little seam threat too, may lessen that blow a little bit. Rajah Nelson's a veteran. Of course, you got Bryce Lance. Chris Harris is a veteran. I think they got players that, Isaiah St. Romain has done some things. So
Jackson Williams is out there too.
How can you forget about Jackson Williams? Yeah. So, I don't think it's the biggest deal ever.
The big question is on Jackson Dutenheffer, which granted, we just first off glad that he's okay after what happened. We don't know. I don't know if even Tim Polisic will have an update on Dutenheffer's status tomorrow for his press conference. I would anticipate he can't go, which means Logan Larson moves up into that spot with Keenan Wilson at that defensive tackle position.
But it's not like if South Dakota State lost its quarterback. I think Jackson Dutenheffer is a big deal.
Yep.
But Bison got some pretty good depth there.
I think Elijah Way may have to play a bit more
losing
too.
Your defensive tackle is not the same as losing your quarterback. Let's be honest about
it is
that.
not. Nope.
But if he indeed is not going to play, we're talking, about Chase Mason. They got some players there. I would anticipate that he's not playing.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have an MRI and have more tests and really make sure that
everything's okay.
Yeah.
So I would look in that spot. Then you got Logan Larson, who's a third year, is a junior, and then Elijah Wayne's a true freshman.
Well, Keenan Wilson though
Keenan's been dominant.
Play a few more reps than he's usually maybe used to playing.
Yep.
I think he's been really good too.
Gosh, it's going to be a great atmosphere. We look forward to being there on Saturday. Bison game will be live in Brookings, 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. Reminder, your first of many this week. The game is on ESPNU on Saturday night at 7 o'clock, and then we'll wrap things up with Bison postgame live afterwards as the Bison and Jackrabbits play for the marker again. NDSU snapped its 4-game losing skid to the Jackrabbits last year to take the marker back. Going to be a great game. Looking forward to that. Likely, I would imagine, sold-out crowd.
I would think so.
What's going to happen
the
down?
Weather seems like it'll be all right.
Weather's actually going to be dynamite.
Upper Midwest in the 40s
for
at night.
Halloween weekend. Yeah, let's go. It's going to be dynamite. We'll have coverage all week long at Inforum.com. Jeff will have that. We'll have stories all week on WDAY as well to get you ready for the Bison and the Jacks. That's this week's Bison Video Blog presented by Northwestern Mutual. We'll see everybody on Saturday.